Hello Eastside Youth. This is your midweek encouragement and check-in video. Before we get into Hebrews chapter 11, I want to let you guys know, you might have already seen because it's been posted on like social media and stuff, but we had to move the tubing from this Saturday the 16th to next Saturday the 23rd. And that's just because the area that we're going to go tubing in got a bunch of rain and it got a little warm, and so they had a couple washouts, and it's going to be, if there's snow, it's going to be pretty icy and not as enjoyable. So there's snow in the forecast for the beginning of next week and most of next week, and so we're praying that next week will work. And so we'll keep you guys posted, but for right now, the plan is to go tubing on January 23rd instead. We're going to dive right in this week. We're in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23. It says, "By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden for 3 months by his parents, because they saw that the child was beautiful, and they were not afraid of the king's edict." So, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23, it starts out, and we kind of get this juke. We think that the author is going to tell us about Moses, and eventually he does, but we're going to get to Moses next week. But what he does is he says that Moses' parents, which we don't really get to know them very much in the story. And if you want to read this story, it's back in Exodus. It's pretty early on in Exodus. I want to say it's chapter. Let's see here. Let's just get it to you guys. Chapter 2 or 3, I believe, or 1 or 2. Yeah, in there somewhere. Chapter 2, birth of Moses. So. Exodus chapter 2 is where this comes from, and the Pharaoh, the leader of Egypt at the time, had put out this thing that said all of the male Hebrew babies are to be killed. So when they were born, the midwife was supposed to take them and have them killed. And we know from reading that they were spared a lot of the times, even by Egyptian midwives would spare them. And they would still have their sons. But we find out that part of this was, the parents, their willingness to follow the decree would also lend to whether or not the Pharaoh and his people found out about the baby. And so we're told that Moses' mom and dad, they knew it was right to have their son and keep him alive, rather than follow what the king had said, which was, your son needs to be put to death when he's born. And so because they had faith, as Hebrews, we can trust that they hopefully would have had faith in the God that we found out about in Genesis. They had faith that was not right. And that God had a plan for life, that God was a God that loved life. And so because of that, they chose to ignore what the king had said, what the Pharaoh had said. And because of that, Moses is born. And then next week, we're going to talk about what Moses did. But this week, we hear about Moses' mom and dad. And they're a reminder that our faith, when it's living and active, can lead us to do things that are right, even when they're difficult. Because they could have been imprisoned. They were already slaves at this point, but they could have been imprisoned or killed for this choice, probably by Pharaoh. And so our faith can and often ought to cause us to do what is right, even when it is difficult. So I leave you guys with that. Regular youth group this week. Looking forward to seeing you guys. And sorry about the tubing. We'll get that going for next week. So just hang in there. Get those permission slips turned in. You got to have those. And we will look forward to seeing you here in 3 or 4 days on Sunday. Love you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Bye.